in just about 5 minutes. But it's that simple. This is so simple. And there may be questions that you guys have after, and we'll have opportunities to talk and figure out the nuances. But the concept is so simple that most of you are going to go, that's too easy, it must not work. Okay, so try to get yourself over that. This is one of the exact strategies that Chris used to find some of the deals he shared with you last night. But what I'm going to ask you to do is choose your target state. It could be the state you live in. It could be a state you choose for a different reason. It does not matter. Then you're going to Google. I use Florida as an example. Florida towns ranked by population. That's going to create a list for you, and I'm going to show you on the next page here what this looks like. When you Google that, the first or second result is going to give you a list of all the towns ranked in order by population. You're going to copy and paste that list into a spreadsheet. You've now got lots of towns all ranked in order. You're going to delete all of the towns with less than 1,000 people. And if it's me, I actually delete all of the towns with more than 5,000 people. You might say, wow, those are really small towns. I like the small towns. You may be more comfortable in 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 towns of that many, and that's cool. You can ultimately invest there. If you're just getting started, I would encourage you to not try to reinvent the wheel yet until you learn how the wheel rolls. And that means start with 1,000 to 5,000, because the process I'm going to explain with you right now is very, very easy and straightforward. And in small towns, it's also easy to execute. In larger towns, it becomes a little more convoluted, a little more cumbersome. And so don't try to ride the mountain bike down the mountain before you've learned how to ride on flat ground. You guys tell I like analogies? That's why I love this group. My wife hates analogies, and I'm not allowed to use them at home. But with you guys, I can. Hopefully, they land for some of you. Once you've erased all those towns, you're literally going to go town by town. I choose, for reasons I just described, to start with the town with 1,001 people in it. And if you're thinking, well, there's no money to be made in those small towns, there were 1,050 people in the town, Bronson, Florida, where I bought a property for $500,000 and 37 or 8 months later sold it for $1.5 million. Don't tell me you can't make money in small towns. You absolutely can. And I think it's the easiest money. You're going to start with the smallest town, and I'm going to show you on this next slide, you're literally going to take Bronson, Florida, self-storage, and pop it into Google. What you're going to see pop up is the map pack up there. So those are 3 little red dots in the map, and off to the side on Google, you can actually see it there a little bit. I know it's kind of small, but you're going to see Bronson self-storage and then other storage facilities. Spoiler alert, there's no other ones in Bronson. That's why the deal that I bought and Sant now owns is such a great one, is because it's a captive audience. The nearest competitor is 9.5 or 10 miles away. And those are the kind of things we're looking for. So when we go to the map pack, we're just going to identify the properties. There might be 2 or 3 in most of these small towns. And you can see that black spreadsheet at the bottom. Very simple. Name, address, phone, email. Just take down the basic information of the property. And then Google listing, yes or no. Website, yes or no. Online rental, yes or no. And then a notes column if you want it, right? Maybe their website, yes, they have one, but it's reservations only. Or I called 6 times and nobody answers, although we're not really in the calling phase yet. You can put some notes there. Ideally, well, let me back up and say, the ones that you found in the map pack, let me just tell you, they have a Google listing. That's how they ended up in the map pack, right? So you're always going to have a yes there. But do they have a website? Maybe, maybe not. Let me ask you guys, do you think we want them to have websites? No. We want the unsophisticated operators. Listen, if they don't have a website, and as we'll talk about in a moment, if they're not on Google yet, how many other things do you think they're doing wrong? Right? The more that they do wrong, the easier it is for us to do it right, and we like easy money over hard money. Yes? So after we've taken those 2 or 3 down, what we're going to do is then zoom in. Chris mentioned it very briefly last night. We're going to get it on satellite view, and we're going to fly over the town in the outskirts of town, and we're going to look for those little row buildings that look like storage facilities. Okay? You're going to get excited if you're doing this in the South, just so you know, if that little row building, if there's 6 of them and they're ginormous and they're at the far dead end of a 6-mile dirt road, it's a chicken farm. You don't want to buy it. Okay? Ask me how many chicken farms I tried to buy, right? But you'll pick this up pretty quickly. This is why we do it in a small town, because it is kind of a roll your sleeves up process. All you're going to do is repeat that process till you have 200 to 300 names on your list, and you're going to start calling them or mailing to them. Your preference, combination of both is probably the best. You can text them, you can Facebook message them, even if you didn't find their facility on Facebook. One of the important things about finding deals is meeting people where they're at. So even all my students know that texting me is a bad idea. Why? Because I have OCD. So if you text me, I have to read it. But I'm not going to respond to you if I'm playing with my kids or I'm in a conversation and that sort of thing or whatever, and so I may forget. If you email me, it's never going to go unanswered, because even if I look at it, I can leave it marked as unread, right? And it works for me. So if I were selling a facility and you texted me, I'm going to be like, how the hell did you get my number, first of all? But secondly, which is an objection you will get, and we will talk about having those conversations with sellers as well. But you want to meet people where they're at. So, and you don't know what anybody likes. So mail them, call them, text them, direct message them, and see what works. And then just follow that avenue with each individual seller. If this is literally all you do, leaving here, you can find a deal to monetize. You won't know how to run it, and that's fine. You can either keep it and figure that out by leaning into the support of the community or finding it elsewhere. Or you could wholesale it, learn that, capture that money, and then go do it again until you're comfortable taking it down by yourself. I want to be very clear that, yes, this could be the only thing you learn, and you could use it to make $50,000 to $100,000 over the next 6 to 12 months. Am I guaranteeing that's going to happen for you? Absolutely not, because I don't know what you're going to do, right? All I can tell you that my buddy Terry Royce, some of you know him, says, the system works, but only if you work it. This is on you to do. Fair enough? I'm not being unfair, am I? Okay, good. I also want to say that some of you are looking at that process that I just outlined, as simple and rudimentary as it is, and you're going, well, that looks terrible. I wouldn't do it even if I made $1 million, which is totally cool, because what works for me doesn't have to be what works for you.